Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap podcast from SNXweave, where we give quick weekly recaps of news and important updates from the previous week from the Spartan Council and core contributors, as well as discuss what the Grants Council and ambassadors are up to, so let's get started. Just as a quick work in progress update for V3, the Alpha Spot Market Implementation SIP was presented last week and is pending a vote. It is currently through audit with Open Zeppelin, and ISRO is looking at it now, so it should be wrapping up shortly. Prior to last week's meeting, the rudimentary trading front end was also launched, but only for testing to see how the system is functioning. The current focus for the engineers is on cross-chain deployments, as the CCs are preparing to add this functionality as soon as CCIP is launched, and DB is working on a proof of concept implementation for cross-chain pools. Other priorities at the moment include the Alpha UI for stakers, which is up and running, revamping V3 documentation, and continuing conversations with integrators about V3 integrations. Moving on to last week's SIP presentations, SIP 2015 for 5 additional Perps V2 markets was presented by Matt. It proposes adding XRP, DOT, TRX, Floki, and INJ. During this presentation, Adam brought up a topic of discussion that started during the call and then continued in the Spartan Council meeting. He flagged the way new markets were being proposed, saying that markets are currently proposed via SIP, which require a community presentation, but all of the relevant risk parameters are set via SCCP, which do not require a presentation. He thinks it's not too much of a problem given the current CCs and Spartan Council, but that the process may present issues later given the potential risk to the debt pool associated with listing higher volatility assets. This is typically mitigated by the funding rate model, however, which incentivizes arbitrageurs to help maintain neutral markets. Noah added that historically, SIPs were reserved for code changes and SCCPs have been for configuration changes. One of the goals of V3 is that there will be very limited changes to the code, and if there are any code changes, they will be relatively minor. As a result, most governance activity may come from SCCPs, so it might be valuable to start a discussion on how governance will look and get community input in V3. Next, SIP 2014 was presented to add an additional 3 markets to Perps V2, Pepe, SUI, and Blur. Westy explained that in addition to building the current list of offerings, these assets were selected because they have deep spot liquidity but very limited on-chain Perps trading markets. Once approved, the markets from SIPs 2014 and 2015 will be launched, but paused pending SCCP parameter updates. SCCP 304 was also presented last week, which proposes deploying a synthetic ETH spot market with an SNXETH token to Optimism, integrated with the Synthetics V3 core system. Noah explained that the same settlement strategy being used for Perps V2 is also being applied to spot markets in V3, where the Chainlink Oracle is used for price and the Pyth Oracle is used for asynchronous settlement. This would also set up an ETH wrapper, which will initially be capped at 100 ETH and would be deployed to Optimism first. As the first market on V3, this would allow for further testing of the system to make sure everything is functioning as expected. In V2, adding a new spot market would have required a code change and a SIP. In V3, however, this is only a configuration change, which is typically done via SCCP and requires no presentation. This SCCP, however, was presented with the goal of opening up the discussion on governance processes going forward, given the new V3 framework. Lastly, FIF presented SIP 2013 for dynamic gas fee module, which would be able to adjust the min keeper fee within bounds set by governance. He explained that the purpose of the keeper fee was never to subsidize gas cost for users, but rather to roll up trades and gas fees into a single transaction for better UX. The proposed dynamic fee in this SIP would allow users to pay the additional costs directly out of the SUSD margin, so it would still be only a single wallet transaction. There's also a target minimum profit on these transactions to incentivize keepers, as well as an absolute maximum. The Grants Council also had a productive week, making some good progress on the NFT project, stats page, budget tasks, Discord bots, and more. Sunny also had an awesome V3 overtime market idea, so a new channel has been created to further discuss this within the council. And that's it for today's updates. Be sure to check out our weekly recap blog post, share this podcast link, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear more about from SNXweave. Thanks for listening.